Welcome back to Grammar Grade 12. This is Unit 11, Lesson 89, and today we give a single humble mark its due, the apostrophe. It is tiny, but it does two big jobs, and mixing them up is one of the most common slips in all of writing. The first job is possession, showing that something belongs to someone. The dog's leash, the student's desks. The second job is contraction, squeezing two words into one and marking the letters that fall out. Do not becomes don't. Get those two jobs straight, and the apostrophe stops being a mystery. Let's begin. Before we dive in, let's see the whole shape of the lesson. That little floating comma does exactly two big jobs, and almost every apostrophe you ever write is one of the two. The first job is possession, showing that something belongs to someone. The dog's leash, a day's work. The second job is contraction, pushing two words together and dropping a letter, then marking the gap. Do not becomes don't. That's it. One little mark, two clear jobs. Almost every apostrophe mistake comes from confusing those two, so let's take them one at a time. Let's take the two jobs one at a time, starting with possession. The basic rule is beautifully simple. To make a singular noun show ownership, add an apostrophe and an S. The dog's leash, the leash belonging to the dog. The teacher's plan, the city's skyline, a day's work. Now here's the part people second guess. Even when the singular noun already ends in S, you still usually add apostrophe-s. James's car, the boss's office, the glass's rim. Say them out loud. You pronounce that extra S, so you write it. One owner, add apostrophe-s. Plurals are where the apostrophe wanders, so watch its position closely. There are two cases. First, when the plural already ends in S, and most plurals do, you add just an apostrophe with nothing after it. The student's desks, the girl's team, the smith's house. The mark sits right after that final S. Second, when the plural does not end in S, the odd ones, like children, women, and men, you go back to apostrophe-s. The children's toys, the women's coats, the men's locker room. So before you place the mark, listen. Does the plural end in S already? If it does, apostrophe only. If it doesn't, apostrophe-s. Here's a subtler possession question. What if two people own something? It depends on whether they share it or own separate copies. If they own one thing together, jointly, you put the apostrophe-s on only the last name. Mia and Leo's apartment means the single apartment they share. But if they each own their own version, you make both names possessive. Mia's and Leo's laptops means she has hers and he has his, two separate machines. So ask yourself, is it one shared thing or separate things? Share one, mark one name. Own separately, mark both. Now the apostrophe's second job, the contraction. When we squeeze two words together and drop a letter or two, the apostrophe marks exactly where those letters vanished. Do not becomes don't, and the mark stands in for the missing O. They are becomes their. It is becomes its. I would becomes I'd. Cannot becomes can't. The trick is simply this. Put the apostrophe right where the letters dropped out, not wherever it looks tidy. Think of the mark as a tiny sign that says, "Letters used to live here." This one deserves its own board because it trips up everybody. It's versus its. Here is the rule, and it never changes. Its, with an apostrophe, is always the contraction for it is, or sometimes it has. It's raining means it is raining, and you can always test it by expanding it back into two words. But it's, with no apostrophe, is the possessive, meaning belonging to it. The dog wagged its tail, the tail belonging to the dog. No apostrophe anywhere. Yes, that feels backwards, since possession usually wants an apostrophe. But possessive pronouns, its, hers, ours, theirs, whose, and yours, never take one. So the test is easy. If you can say it is, use its. If you can't, drop the apostrophe. The same trap hides in your versus your, whose versus whose, and theirs versus theirs. So expand the word and the right one appears. One last warning, and it's the flip side of that trap. Apostrophes almost never make a word plural. To write more than one apple, you write apples, no apostrophe. Ever. Never apples. The same goes for decades and family names. The 1990s, the Ramirez family, 3 tacos. A lonely apostrophe stuck before a plural s is one of the most visible errors in English. There is one narrow exception, used only to prevent confusion. You may add apostrophe-s to make the plural of a single letter. Mind your P's and Q's. She earned 3 A's this term. Dot your I's. But that's the rare case. For ordinary plurals, never reach for the apostrophe. Let's fold all of that into a quick check you can run on any apostrophe. 1. Is it ownership? If the owner is singular, add apostrophe-s. If it's a plural already ending in s, add just the apostrophe. 2. Is it an irregular plural, like children or women? Then add apostrophe-s. 3. Can you unfold the word into 2 words, like it is, they are, or you are? Then it's a contraction, and the apostrophe marks the missing letters. 4. Is it just a plain plural, like apples or the 1990s? Then no apostrophe at all. Run those 4 questions and you'll place every apostrophe with confidence. Let's practice. Time to practice. In this first set, I'll show you a sentence with 2 choices. Pick the correct form, thinking about singular versus plural possession. Pause the video and choose before I reveal each answer. That is blank favorite song. James's or James apostrophe. James is a single person, a singular noun, and our rule says a singular noun takes apostrophe s, even when it already ends in s. So we write James's favorite song. The blank lockers line the hallway. Students apostrophe or students. There are many students here, and that plural already ends in s. When a plural ends in s, the apostrophe goes right after it, with nothing added. So the students' lockers line the hallway. The blank playground reopened today. Children's or children's apostrophe. Children is already plural, but notice it does not end in s. Plurals like that go back to apostrophe s, so it's the children's playground. Now the second set. These sentences turn on contractions and that famous it's versus its trap. Try expanding the word in your head before you choose. Pause and decide before I answer. The old clock has lost blank minute hand. It's or its. Try expanding it. The clock has lost it is minute hand? That makes no sense. It means the hand belonging to the clock, so we want the possessive its with no apostrophe. The clock lost its minute hand. I think blank going to rain this afternoon. It's or its. Expand it. I think it is going to rain. Yes, that works perfectly. Since it means it is, we use the contraction its, apostrophe and all. I think it's going to rain. She bought a dozen fresh blank at the market. Apples or apple apostrophe s. Nothing here is being owned. We simply mean more than one apple. An ordinary plural never takes an apostrophe, so she bought a dozen fresh apples. Let's gather what we've learned about this small but mighty mark. First, possession. A singular noun adds apostrophe s, even one ending in s, like James's. A plural ending in s adds just an apostrophe, like the students' desks. And an irregular plural, like children, adds apostrophe s. Second, contractions. The apostrophe stands in for missing letters, and the great trap, its versus its, your versus your, whose versus whose, is settled by one question. Can you expand it into two words? Third, plain plurals never take an apostrophe. It's apples, never apples. The thread through all of it is meaning. Decide what the word is doing, and the little mark falls into place. Next time, in Lesson 90, we'll turn to the hyphen, how that small dash joins words together and splits them across a line. I'll see you there.